This is StepManiaX. Select your difficulty. Hard. Okay. Please make a selection.
This. You want to rack it up there.
Confirm selection. Select options. Player one, ready.
She about had the bracket up here. Oh, it's wrong.
Hello.
All right.
We have our first match on stream now. If they weren't introduced already, we have Lucy Lamia versus Little Chris. They are currently warming up before they play the first match. For those who are not familiar, this is going to be a 3 out of 5 match. All the matches this year are going to be 3 out of 5, so you can see up to 5 songs can be played. First to win 3 points will advance to the next part of the bracket.
Most excellent.
Yes. And you'll see here that Little Chris likes playing No Bar. He's local to my area, Houston, Texas. Yeah, but they've chosen Ladybug and Hard Mode for the warm-up. The level range for this pool is 16 to 19. And the first song will be Sub-Zero, Hard, 16, followed by One Step Further. And after that, we get to a point where it's neutral songs where neither player vetoed or protected it.
Yeah, I'm very glad to see that we are starting out with Hard, 16 to 19. There's a lot of very interesting lower level charts here in this range in the game. And an opportunity, I think, for some real interesting picks to shine. So it's going to be good to see.
Yep. And then on the other cabinet, we have another stream. In the pinned comment, look at Pilot's channel. We have Xylos and Bap going up after some quick pad maintenance over there.
Yeah, so make sure you open up your multi-stream and set to 2 streams if you want to catch everything. The secondary stream, it is largely unmonitored without any commentary, so you'll just be seeing gameplay over there.
Yeah, there is a pad mic nearby. We're not sure how much noise it picks up, but you might be hear a little banter here and there from the players. But I'm going to hand over to Pilot while we get started over here. They're going to be playing Sub-Zero first.
Yep.
Let's see how it goes.
All right, that's Lucy Lamia's Protect going into game 1 very shortly. All right, getting into game 1, the Sub-Zero. Hard 16. All right, both players holding on to their full combo so far. Chris with excellent accuracy at the moment, but plenty of time for anything to change as the set goes on. Approaching the last quarter of the chart, you can see that syncopated 16th note pattern showing up more frequently. All right. Very convincing game one from Lil Chris to get started. Very excellent timing here at the lower end of the tournament. Although a very good run close to a full combo from Lucy over on the player one side. Excellent in its own right. All right, going into One Step Further by Jenna Dre for game two. All right, game two goes to Little Chris. Very commanding performance there on that chart. All right, getting started on game three on Get Down Hard 17. Yeah, definitely, despite the low BPM of the song, a noticeable step up in chart difficulty from our first two songs in the set with these 16th triples stringed throughout the chorus of the song. Both players maintaining their full combos though. Off to a solid start. All right. Little Chris closes out game 3, takes the set. For any of our competitors who lose, they are not out yet. This is a double elimination tournament, so the player is not gone until they've lost 2 matches. So perfectly able to take a second, mentally reset, steal up, and have at it again in loser side bracket. Over on the secondary stream, pinned in the chat, you can see Xylos versus BAP currently ongoing. I believe that match is just about to begin. And we are waiting for our next match to be available to play on the stream. It'll be available momentarily. Actually, it looks like BAP vs. Xylos is going to be put here on the main stream. A wonderful turn of events.
Let's StepManiaX. Select difficulty. Hard. Hard difficulty.
And now, joining me on the microphone,
Music selection.
say hello to Twang.
Hello. I'm trying to cheer for my guy in Biz, but might as well be commentating while he's on, you know.
Oh yes, you and I can spectate right from the comfort of the commentary desk.
True, yeah. This is the hard wave, right? Hard wave, right? So like.
Yes. So everything in this pool is hard difficulty.
So it's like 19 through like 16?
16 to 19. Yes.
Okay.
And I think these 2 players, I think, got their warm up on the other cab. I thought their match was going to be played on the secondary stream before they were brought over here. So looks like we're going to just go straight into game 1.
Yeah.
Ready. Go.
You definitely know about these hard charts more than me, but I'm guessing like the 19 stemmed from like this being a really like high like BPM chart and like the gallops in the beginning. It's a lot of off notes actually.
Yeah. So while this song's wild chart, a 26, is kind of this unrelenting, exceptionally twisty stream. The 19 kind of tones it down significantly, replacing a lot of the stream with just basic syncopation and patterns. It certainly does not shy away from being twisty, though. You saw that lateral crossover. There's some center panel twists included for good measure. Very tame rendition of what the Wild 26 is, but still a respectable chart, and I think very difficult to time if you're largely capped at around this level.
Yeah. All right.
But looks like BAP's holding on very well, though, keeping a gold combo coming into more like the outro, if you will, of the chart.
Yeah, the outro is brutal because like I know the Wild is just like laterals over and over again, but this just seems like an 8th note stream. That's not too bad, honestly. Oh, you got to cross over.
Now, you still want to be mindful of your footwork there.
Yeah, you have to cross over, but yeah, it's obviously not as bad as like the 26. 19 versus a 26.
A very nice 98K gold combo from BAP to take game 1.
Hey, now that was excellent.
Yeah, you got the drink.
Reselect music.
Got the drink?
Can't put down the cup.
You know, I don't think Xylos is too far off, though, on the mark. Just needs to find a timing window, tighten it up a little bit, and I think we'll see similar performances as well.
Yeah, obviously, like, The beginning is like probably one of the hardest like songs in this pool right now. So dialing it down to a 16, it's probably they can probably dial in the timing a little bit better here.
Oh yes, the range of difficulty in this pool is quite sizable. While it is all just lower level content, if you will, there's still an appreciable gap in difficulty between the easier end of the 16s and even like the mid-range, I'd say, of the 19s. And a couple of wildcard charts whose difficulties for timing may surprise you given their block rating, if you will. But you can see already Xylus is already holding up much better on this lower level chart. Picks up the center miss there, a little unfortunate, but still very much able to pull ahead in the lead, especially if that makes any kind of mistake.
Yeah, the miss was a little unlucky, but like he's pretty consistent on the perfects. So yeah, Bap is like very in the lead. Both of them nailed the release note there. Ooh, Bap picking up an early on it. And a late, wow, unlucky.
I certainly do not fault players for picking off judgments here, as that's kind of, you know, not on like the downbeat, if you will, that's more on the upbeat.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky there, but I think both of them nailed it.
I don't think BAP has picked up anything more than just a couple of, only like 1 or 2 off judgments. Looking very comfortable closing out game 2. Yeah, another respectable 98K.
Quit star. Select another song.
We're going to go to a game 3 critical hit.
Is this a goofy 16 or is it like a normal 16?
Music selected. Options.
It has been so long.
Player 2 ready.
It has been so long since I've touched some of the lower level material in the game. I do not recall critical hits hard chart being particularly gnarly, but we will see right as we get started on game 3.
Bro, I thought you were my hard APC expert, bro.
Dude, I gotta clean out room while I'm working on all those 20s.
True, yeah.
But certainly this is respectably challenging given the syncopation. Lots of 16th notes there. Kind of this timing that deviates from that very basic follow the main pulse. You know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, and both players already picking up a green judgment. Oh no.
Yeah, you don't want to see that where you start the held note by having the panel already pressed. It doesn't register as a discrete pass, so it's a held miss, even though it looks like the note is fully illuminated.
200 combo.
Yeah, as somebody who was like learning SMX like around like 2 years ago, that was a huge problem of mine because like, you know, DDR and like ITG form has you like in the center a little bit more, but like this you need to be further out to like avoid that held miss in the center. But this time, yeah, Zeros nails it, sorry.
Now, once again, just BAP looks very comfortable following those patterns. While the song is heavily syncopated, none of the footwork is particularly difficult so long as you keep alternating your feet, and BAP will take game 3 very convincingly.
Yeah, takes it with another full combo at 96K. It's first to 3, right? Or
This is a best of 5.
best of
the whole way through.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like I just got done playing with like my ITG pool like an hour ago, and like the card draw system from like for these 2 games is like completely different. Yeah. So I'm a bit of a noob.
I would definitely say SMX is in a more experimental state with its rules, and people and event organizers are making adjustments and trying to find ways to keep things fresh and interesting and competitive. And while we've definitely standardized on a more traditional implementation of card draw, we do have access to pocket picks and redraws as special actions available to the players. So I think we will probably see some interesting choices as the tournament drags on. I think, not sure if we're setting up for a match here or if this is just a little bit of warm-up.
Yeah, I see my guy Viz and his opponent doing the card draw right now, I think. So,
All right. Well, currently I do see Caffeine versus Michael B. Jennett has been pushed to the stream overlay, so I think we'll be seeing that as our next match.
yeah, I wonder if this is just like warm-up or something, or maybe not. Bum, bum, bum.
Look at that 3D modeled James Landino hitting it in the background.
I know you mentioned like actually really recently that there's like Easter eggs like where he does like the gritty or something. Or maybe, I feel like he's always doing the gritty. I haven't paid too much close attention to it.
Now, I cannot necessarily authoritatively speak to anything in the game, but later on in this background animation, there is a chance for Mr. Landino to bust into a random dance. We are not going to see it because if you do not stand on the pad for about 50 or so seconds, the game will quit you out.
Yeah,
But I had the pleasure recently of spending an evening in the company of Lightning, the game's primary graphics artist and contributor in some other regards. And while I don't remember much about our encounter, there was a note mysteriously placed on my phone afterwards that reads, James Landino has a 10% chance to hit the gritty.
Yo, 10%. That's higher than I thought. Wow. But yeah, unfortunately, James Landino is currently dead, so we won't see him gritty.
Hello?
Oh. Well, maybe we'll see him again in like another card draw.
I was going to say, is something transpired that I'm not made aware of?
No, yeah.
I believe he's alive and well out in Japan. It was a pleasure to meet and speak with him briefly about the game at MagFest 2024.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful event if you can make it out.
Yeah, MagFest is like fantastic. Like for those who don't know, there's like an after-hours club that happens like on the 10th floor of the venue hotel, and it's just like artists coming in just to DJ for like a couple hours, and one of the DJs was James Landino.
It was a great show.
Yeah. Yeah, miss that event. I definitely want to go this next year.
But I think we're gonna jump straight into game one of this set now. Now I looked over and saw some mid BPM, the 16th note stream with a lot of center panel and that other cab. Thought it was the beginning. It's just Sweet World. But enough of the other setup. We're getting the game one here on Move It, Groove It.
Those guys are going crazy over there. You can catch them on twitch.tv/the with the E and H reverse pilot.
It's a Pilot VG if you want to see the other stream. It's pinned in the chat. But
Oh, it is pinned. Let's go.
getting into game one, here's another slow BPM but very syncopated hard chart. This one with a little trickier footwork. You can see those crossovers there. Caffeine's taking a very small lead to start off. Michael B. Jennett picks up a couple of unfortunate off judgments.
Yeah, unfortunately, now he's like a solid 1K behind. But, you know, both these players are like on the same pace, so you see him go back up.
Even like a variation in, you know, white versus yellow perfect count will make up that difference potentially. Although, in the abstract, I think both players are pretty comfortable with the syncopated patterns. Just Caffeine has the timing a little more on lock compared to Michael B. Jennett.
Yeah, this divide is growing a little bit bigger. I think now it's around 3K when I'm eyeballing. Yeah, but right now, Caffeine is on pace for a full combo.
All right, very nice 99.5 gold combo.
Yeah, great scores from both of them. But, yeah.
Yeah, respectable showing there from Michael B. Jennett, just not locked in on that white perfect window.
Yeah.
Very capable of reining it in, or if you go to something that's a little more mechanically difficult to execute, that's also another way to try and get an edge over your opponent. But we're going to go to So Deep for game 2.
Yeah, the DDR Max or Extreme Classic? I forget which one it was.
Memories of playing the console release of Max 2 on my PS2.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm a Zoomer DDR player, so my first DDR was Ace, so Deep is like so long ago. But fortunately, it's still alive in SMX.
Yeah, while the wild chart has its more iconic gallop patterns, the hard 17 here is a much simpler rendition, just with some basic eighth notes thrown in. I do believe the footwork gets increasingly difficult as you approach the end.
Yeah, I know in the wild chart, the outro lays like a huge 16 note stream, but here I'm probably just expecting, I don't know what it is, but it's probably just like a much simpler eighth note stream or something. I haven't seen really any complex patterns yet in this chart.
Yeah, this is very, very tame so far on the patterning.
Yeah, I feel like even though like this is a 17, it felt like the rhythms in like the last song were way like a little bit more complex, despite being like a tick down in difficulty.
Yeah, there's these little longer eighth note sections into the back half of the chart.
Yeah. Like Harfiend is on point to like APC this. Hold up.
I'm watching it very intently.
Oh no.
You never want to call it out, you know?
Yeah.
Don't want to be the one to curse it.
Dude, I felt like it was late enough. Like, no way the commentator's curse like hits in like 10 minutes like until the song ends, you know?
Well,
But yeah.
you can't curse him from winning the set there with yellow count that low. Yeah, taking a picture of that score. I'd be proud of it too.
Yeah, absolutely. On another day, that's definitely an APC. Because both those is it white perfect or what's the name for like the perfect below? It's like, because like there's gold perfect and then white perfect, but like you guys don't say gold perfect, so like, what is it?
I think typical parlance for this game would be just perfect for the yellow window and absolute perfect for the top window.
You know what would be sick if you called like the top judgment perfect and then like the next one imperfect.
Yeah, no, I don't know if that's casual friendly enough for the mass market appeal that this game carries, but enough of that. Let's take a look at how Game 3 on Rain Dance is going, a more recent addition to the game.
Yeah. Banger edition.
Oh yeah, great song.
Both players picking up some early perfects.
Michael B. Jennett picking up a couple of misses in that section. I believe if you follow it as written, you do a little spin, looking at the patterning. But at this speed for execution, you can usually just position your stealth or tap 1 foot, tap 2 arrows with 1 foot in a row.
Yeah, I think before the poll started, I saw Spencer. I think he was warming up on Beethoven Virus and he was doing the spins on the wild chart. But yeah, that's gonna be a solid 3-0 from Caffeine.
Indeed. Stellar performance.
And
Really good timing overall.
yeah, got 99K, like, got 99K like, on the last song and for this one. It's had a solid lead throughout the entire set compared to Michael,
All right. And here he is, Invis.
our guy.
Invis is a close friend of ours. And very excited to see him. I think, for like an open singles tournament, I believe this would be his tournament debut.
Really?
I'm not certain where else he has competed. I know he has participated in some of our local events, typically in like lower level or side events, but I think this would be his first time really competing in a true open singles tournament for all skill levels.
Yeah, because I know both of you went to like Winter Ball recently. I didn't know he didn't compete there.
No, he likely competed, I think, just in the hard mode gauntlet, which is like a lower level side event.
But like this event is like technically all difficulties if you can make your way up.
I think we're going to get a little warm-up going first before we dive into our set. So I think kind of set the context here. Invis, friend of ours, more casual player, if you will, overall, but definitely has the capacity to pull out some very impressive scores. I think recently bagged his first 24 clear.
Oh, nice.
Which is a very impressive milestone to have, and with a solid score to boot. And Lil Chris, for context, Jelly Slush gave me a bit of background as a Texas native player. You can see it plays with no bar and has scored exceptionally well, especially at the lower end in terms of overall timing.
Yeah, these are some pretty like nasty offbeat 16s.
Yeah, baseline Shatter has tricky patterns in all of its upper end material for sure.
It goes like duh, 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 duh. Like it speeds it kind of weirdly. That like tripped me up too. But good thing it's not on the card draw. Just gotta get the earlies out of your system so you can like lock in for the first game.
And I believe Invis may also be taking a page out of the book of warming up with a song that is similar in BPM or style to what you are going to play.
Oh, that's smart.
I think a baseline Shatter is appreciably faster than Bleep Loop, that much I know. It's about 170 on baseline Shatter, and it looks to be about 135 for Bleep Loop, but still in the same wheelhouse, if you will, and also I think a good chart to pick to really get yourself moving.
Yeah. Yeah, I just realized that Bleep Boop is also Invis's first pick, so, you know, try and get as comfy as possible on your comfort song, you know.
Giving some thought to the speed mod selection.
Yeah. There are some gallops and, like, off-note 16 notes in this as well, so hopefully he's more prepared to hit them this time. All right.
And here we go, game one.
Good luck both players, but more good luck to my boy. Let's go, Viz.
Let's go, Invis. Let's go, both players.
Early miss coming out from Little Chris like before the slowdown, which is a little unfortunate, but still in the lead.
Invis picks up a couple of earlies there, just probably executing that pattern a little too fast. But plenty of time still to make up the difference.
Yeah.
And plenty of tricky sections still remaining in this chart.
Yeah, he still has the full combo, so maybe he can still convert into a W here. Both players nailing the jacks though. Well, misses on the gallop and picks up another early there.
I still think there's an opportunity to switch the lead here as that center panel pattern, difficult for both players there. Little Chris maintains the lead.
Yeah, although Chris picked up some of his own latent misses there.
It's all right.
Yeah, very, very tricky chart.
Just shake it off and go next.
1-0 for Little Chris.
I definitely think Invis carries more confidence with executing harder patterns than Chris does looking at the camera. I think if he could just avoid picking up, some of those off judgments, the earlies and the misses where it matters most. I think, even though Chris has some excellent accuracy, if he also makes those same mistakes, if Invis can iron it out on his side, I think.
Yeah, I think both of them kind
still
of
eke out wins.
Both of them didn't have the cleanest center panel gallop conversions, but if Invis can lock in a little, his overall timing felt really good. It's just those patterns, you just don't want to pick up that many really earlier misses on them.
We saw Little Chris warm up with, I think, one perfect on a low-level hard chart.
Oh,
so
really?
Little Chris has definitely got the timing here. I just think whichever player cleans up their overall execution first will likely eke out victory in this set.
Yeah, and Little Chris, I think he's a little bit more warmed up than Invis because he played, Invis has a bye, so Little Chris had to play his round 1 as who he fairly confidently beat. And now he's taking that momentum into this game as well.
All right, both players, though, with much more confident execution on just about everything, coming up towards the halfway point of this chart.
Oh, that's a lot of perfect earlies from Invis. But this is still a very, very doable gap. The gap is only about 1K right now.
Yeah, and both players seem to be streaming intermittent yellows in anything they do. Going a little early on the drill there.
Oh,
Guys, rushing those drills.
I cleaned it up for the 3rd time, but now the gap is a little bit bigger. Invis a little bit early and Little Chris a little bit late. Oh, 99K on Little Chris's side. It's really clean from him.
Yeah, very good run. 22 clean.
Also, the tournament header on the stream overlay reminds me of the Persona logo. I think that was intentional because I know Project Storm has a different theme every year.
It looks familiar, yeah.
Yeah, because I think last year was Mario Sunshine or something, or
Given that we are a pool resort, I do wish we had the Sunshine theme back. I'm a fan of that personally, but I'm cool with Persona 3.
yeah. I think the one thing I really like about SMX tournaments is that they're usually themed most of the time. I was tuned into the Jelly Slosh not Jelly Slosh, sorry, the Dante Invitational.
How we win 3.
Yeah, this is how we win for a seeder every single time was such a cool idea.
We had a little bit of fun with that one.
Yeah.
As much fun as these players are going to have on Game 3 on a Pilgrim at 2000. Oh, oh,
And it was picked up by Merrily, unfortunately, on that 16-0 triplet.
Yeah, still very close. Yeah, immediately nails the one following that, just a little late afterwards. But both players seem to be having an increased show of confidence in their ability as the set drags on. Little Chris takes another game 3.
Yeah. That's 2 3-0s from now. GG. Yeah. Even still, those were still a really strong showing from Adviz. Like overall, I felt like both their timings was really good, but unfortunately for Adviz, like I think he was like teetering a little bit too early on some
Yeah,
like,
I
some of
think
these songs.
more so like the biggest trend I notice with his play is he tends to, I think, drift a little bit overall. So you see, while he does follow the patterns very well and he's good at executing the combos and the syncopation, outside of any instance where he gets tripped up, you can see his timing graph like oscillates a decent bit from place to place. And I think once he finds his center better, I think he'll put up some really crazy scores. But again, a double elimination tournament, no one's out yet. So he very much has the opportunity to do a little damage loser side if he so wishes.
Yeah, definitely. How does is it 1 out on winners and 1 out on losers? How does it work for a double elim?
What a wonderful question. Why don't we go ahead and take a look at the bracket while we're here. So we are seeing a player will exit on winner side, and which window am I looking at? Is it this one? No, it's the other window that the bracket is open on.
Uh-oh. There we go. Okay.
And then another player who will leave loser side of this pool. So still plenty of opportunities to make a run through loser side bracket. So Caffeine, Little Chris in our winner semis match, and we are waiting for BAP to play whoever surfaces from this collection of matches.
Oh, the camera's back on this. Hello, everybody.
Indeed.
But yeah, I definitely want to see the Invis come back in losers, but...
Well, he's definitely got plenty of room and an opportunity to get quite a few sets in along the way if he so wishes. So let's go ahead and do our friends running bracket a solid and switch back to their view. And we are waiting for our next match to come up, so I will wait for someone to hop on the pads before we switch back over.
Yeah. Are you guys planning on, or I guess there's 2 cabs, so like you guys kind of have to stream everything.
Well, currently I think we're still putting most of our matches on the main cab. We are seeing some casual spectators being redirected to the side cabinet. So I think we're probably due to have a matchup shortly as a result.
All right. Unfortunately, I have to make a sudden exit because my roommate is checking in, so I must leave you for now.
All right.
All right.
Well, hopefully I'll see you back on the mic soon.
Yeah,
Mr.
definitely.
Twang. So yes, we are a little dark. Unfortunately, the venue we are in is dark, and we do not have any additional spotlights or anything. I could, in theory, rotate the monitor displaying bracket to cast some light on myself, but I don't think our bracket organizers would appreciate that. So, currently, we are held up at the moment by having a competitor who needs to be here to advance the bracket is playing in Pump It Up. That is the beauty of a multi-game tournament. And while we're waiting for the
Jello.
match, let's get Invis over here on the mic.
I lost. Oh no.
Remember, every point of failure is an opportunity to learn and improve.
Yippee.
I'm looking forward to seeing your losers run.
Yeah, I still got all my picks. I didn't do pocket pick or redraw or anything for that set.
No, we haven't seen any of that yet.
I felt really good with the songs that were picked, and he was very accurate.
Yes. There are some very good players at all levels in this game.
Yeah. So for my losers run, probably gonna start using some of the picks and stuff. But yeah,
Indeed.
I am looking forward to the rest of the bracket. I saw the guy play before I went on, and I was like, oh, he's kind of
nice with it.
He's kind of good though.
Yeah.
So,
But let's go ahead and get started on our next match. Gonna get the card draw thrown over our way shortly.
let's see who we got here.
So I believe this should be Jay Henny in the cup and Allery.
Cool.
Just gonna get the card draw up on screen shortly. I wonder if I have access to push it myself.
Yeah, they're on the other monitor, unfortunately. Oh, never mind.
Hang on.
It's right there in
Yeah.
the chat.
So go to that link.
Options. Difficulty confirmation. Let's light this candle.
That
I don't
No,
think
that's-
that's the wrong
that's the
side.
wrong match.
I think it was on the right one before.
Now, it's interesting that we don't have the draw for this match.
Before we refresh.
Hang on, I will just ask.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Is this warm up?
Okay, I was mistaken. This is not a match. This is just free play.
Oh, okay.
I guess we are that blocked on the tournament, so we'll just go ahead and
Does it mean I'm up against him? Yo.
apologies for the confusion.
Those are a few. Wait. A winner of Q. Okay, I see.
Full combo.
The classic lift note.
Fantastic. That was great.
Here to fix the light.
Yeah, you want me to tell you a scary story? I was on a perfect run, and then I got a yellow at the very end. This is what happens when you don't give us matches to commentate. It gets a little silly.
So yeah, we're right now just still waiting on next set of matches. Kind of ahead of schedule right now, so we're actually not using both streams at the moment. The other one's just kind of replaying it up.
Oh, Crabberev?
Confirm difficulty. Select options. Player 2 ready. Player 1 ready. Great selection. Are you ready
Shusha,
for this one?
the duck song. Astute viewers who may have noticed that the jacket art appeared as a sunset at the beginning. Depending on the time of day, there's a little animation that plays that's different.
That's awesome. There's a lot of little Easter eggs with the song jackets.
There are even Easter eggs in things like the pad lights. It's a little difficult to see with this dark environment and a bit of overexposure on the lights, but there are duck-shaped light patterns, little ducks drifting along the pad during the song.
That's awesome. Mention in chat, are we going to get the spins?
300 combo.
Aw,
Unfortunately, I think
no
in
spin.
most tournament settings, even on free play, you got a lot of folks who are very focused on accuracy, and you don't always want to turn away from the screen, as you do lose some pertinent visual feedback regarding your timing.
Not gonna lie, that would probably be a really good strat against me, is to like hard draw a song with 360 in it, because I probably wouldn't be able to help myself. I would do that in bracket,
I believe
and I would lose.
I witnessed, I think it was Hint, do the spins on Winter Wild in a tournament.
Yo, that's that.
A very bold choice to do that. Yeah, I think
Are you sure you want to quit? Player 2.
we're finally going to get a match now. So let's
results.
turn it back on,
Maniacs.
and we'll see you in a bit on comms.
Okay. Choose music.
So we are going to get into Little Chris versus Caffeine.
Ooh, cool.
More towards the top of our pool.
I think this is winner's semis.
Yes,
Looks cool.
it is noted right there on the stream layout.
Oh, look at that.
Granted, I think we may need to find a way to note that this is Pool 1 and not winner semis of the whole tournament. We got here fast, if that's the case.
Yeah, true.
But
Okay.
I think we're going to see a little warm-up and then get into the set momentarily. You know, I still can't believe this is in the game.
Yeah. We've been very blessed with a lot of Eurobeat drops this year, and most of the updates for 2025.
Oh, yes. Very quickly becoming the dance game for Eurobeat.
Yeah.
And yes, this is at CEO. It is in the arcade area. Project Storm. Yeah, Caffeine has been putting up some seriously impressive scores in this pool.
Yeah, for sure.
We saw a very low yellow perfect count earlier as well, and 19 on that 18 is a good score.
Yeah, very good. And that was I guess that was the one allotted warm-up. So we're going to be getting to our first song, which should be Land of the Lost.
Yes. So a fun little fact for anyone who's not very familiar with this game and its content update cycle. You may see sometimes there are 2 charts for easy and hard here on singles, colloquially referred to as the plus charts. And Land of the Lost Hard 17 is actually a more recent addition to the game. It's within about the last 18 months or so. It still feels very new to me. But this is actually quite a really interesting pick. I'm curious to see how it plays out here as we get into game 1. Yeah, so Caffeine is already locked into these 8th note streams and then those little 16th note patterns, both the triples in isolation and those in gallops. Which is something you want to be very proficient at coming up shortly, as the chorus of the song has these extended gallops.
Very clean, holding on to the APC through that.
All right, second set. Yeah, maintains that gold combo. Little Chris picking up an off judgment. What a commanding game 1 for Caffeine. 1.
Got the flag.
I cannot fault picking up the yellow where he did in that gallop section. There is a mine pit in the middle of that, right on center. Typically, if you are hitting notes during that kind of segment, if it's like a center pit, you're hitting everything surrounding it, you're usually lifting and moving your feet up enough that you don't rest on the panel for long enough that you trigger it. With up specifically, if you're not moving your foot up or you're not positioning so your heel isn't resting on center, it's very easy to idly trigger that mine pit. So
yeah,
good
for
work,
sure.
Good work on Caffeine and not triggering the mine pit. That's a lot more loss than a yellow flag.
Gillette.
Getting into game 2.
Yeah. And let this just be a barometer for the skill level at this tournament.
Even in
Caffeine is the top seed of the bottom split.
I was going to say, even at the lowest level, you've got some incredible talent coming out today.
Yeah, we just saw an APC.
But yeah, classic madness of 16. A lot different than what we just saw. A little higher BPM and more sustained notes, but less complexity in the patterning overall. Now it looks like Caffeine possibly sunders the lead there with that little grace note on the 8th.
Yeah. Still very close, within 1,000 of each other.
So for those of you watching at home, you can also see who's in the lead currently by the score on top. The player in the lead has like this pulsating gold glow to their score. And sometimes you can see in a particularly close match, you may see that glow rapidly swapping back and forth. Usually that kind of flickering indicates the difference is to about 1 or 2 perfects only, depending on the density of the song. But Little Chris takes game 2 here.
Wow.
Very clean, 2 perfect run. Yeah. Again, it seems like anything that's straightforward to time, if you will, without any like complex syncopation or footwork, Little Chris is absolutely crushing those patterns. Yeah, we've seen Caffeine has put up some really strong performances on more difficult to time material here, so we'll see what Poco Loco Hard 17 brings.
So, anything to watch out for in this chart? Or is this pretty straightforward on the floor?
It's probably solidly syncopated, and it's also at a low BPM. So usually a lower BPM usually makes way for a more difficult syncopation, I would say. I know this gets very gallopy in places in its wild chart. Like there, they've broken up 16 pattern. Both players picking up their off yellows right out the beginning. Yeah, Caffeine is right on Little Chris's heels, but just at any opportunity to pull ahead, just kind of picks up a couple more yellows, keeping the difference just a little bit behind, but perfectly surmountable still.
Wow. 400-point difference.
Little Chris takes game 3. Yeah, very close and perfect count. Just with a slightly cleaner run overall.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, one of the great parts about Waterfall, we're only round 3 and we're already having matches this close.
All right, going on to game 4. Got the rhythm. We'll see how the players adapt to this, as I think this is the most difficult thing in this draw that isn't vetoed by a large margin. Yeah, very sparse open area with these standalone eighth notes. Players trading the lead back and forth there. Coming now into really the most notable part of the chart with these extended eighth note runs. And watch out for the lifts. Yeah, Caffeine lifts up a little too early. Misses the judgment, but still holding on to a lead. Caffeine
Wow.
takes game 4 by a very slim margin there.
And that brings us to
Game
game
5.
5. Let's go.
Yeah, even with the slightly improved perfect count, the missed lift also hurts the score. So that's a very, very close outcome.
Yeah, for certain. Getting some pictures taken right now.
The game 5 selfie. Mr. Jelly Slosh is pumped about this.
He's actually SMX'd about this.
In this. How could you do this to me on commentary?
All right, and looks like we're getting the Hard Plus of Dream of You by Bishu. Pretty recent addition, all things considered, I think within the past year.
I think it's a little older than that, but I don't actually remember.
The passage of time.
It was released previously. That much I can say.
It came out sometime in the past.
But yeah, we're now going back to another low BPM 16th note late in chart, if my recollection is correct. So this should be very interesting, as we've seen these players, although they both put up incredible scores, I feel like they've got very different skill sets.
Yeah.
And I think this is anyone's game 5.
Always interesting to see how differently players take a chart like this.
Yeah, you can already
Caffeine.
see
Oh, sorry, go.
those challenging gallops thrown in there, like the leading note. But up.
Caffeine very much going for a heavier tapping out every quarter note or every eighth note. While Lil Chris, no bar and just going for it. Still being incredibly accurate. Goes to show it's the most important, the best skill you can do is the one that works for you, you know?
Yes. All right, very clean so far, but we are going to have a stop coming up here. Remember to count your measures of rest. All right, Caffeine goes a little late on that one, but still holding on to a respectable lead. Lil Chris picks up an early. That's not what you want to see this close to the end.
Yeah, looks like.
Caffeine is locked in. And our first game 5 of the tournament goes to Caffeine with another one perfect showing.
Wow. Very strong last game too. Only, one single perfect. Great match.
Nah, just got a little off from the stop, as you can expect. You know, all the music drops out, a lot of stuff, percussion can drop out of the mix on a stop like that, and you're left to rely on your own internal metronome.
Yeah.
And some people, they drift a little without the support of the music. So no shame in picking up the yellow where he did, but what a set.
Yeah,
That went
set.
back and forth, had some really close matches. Wonderful gameplay.
All right, and with that, I think I'm going to be pulled onto card draw very soon. Actually, no, I still have to do it.
Select your tempo.
Yeah, your match has 2 match dependencies associated with it, so
Yeah.
you got a little bit of time before you're back up.
I got time.
He's got time. And we've also got NSM versus J Henny in the cup. Got our players getting a feel for the pad before they dive into song 1 on Kagami.
Another Kyle A. Ward track.
Well, that's the T2 Kazuya remix of a Kyle A. Ward track. Hey, Kyle, where's the original? We'd love to see it. All right, so I don't think it's really come up yet in a match. I get to comment on it here. That is a adjustable option to change both your arrow size and to turn off the beat bars in the background. And so I am quite interested in NSM running with very small arrows and no beat lines.
That is... I would normally think that's just playing the game on hard mode.
Well, turning off beat lines does take away a little bit of additional information for stops and BPM changes. But if you find it visually cluttering and bothersome to have that flashing in the background, I can understand it. But so far, even though picking up an intermittent miss there, Jay Henny and the Cub still in the lead at this halfway mark. The lead is narrow, but present nonetheless. All right, game 1 goes to Jay Henny.
Very clean, too.
Yeah, even with the miss, a sizable difference in yellow for the count in his favor. Well, still got a whole set to go through here. Some interesting picks. Everyone always forgets how to spell in the middle of a tournament, so. Kibo. All right, just saw NSM bump up that arrow size, so making a slight adjustment. Move on to Kibo. NSM picking up a couple of off judgments there. Jay Henny holding on to the gold combo until I say that. Picks up what looks like a late, just possibly a late trigger on a given arrow. All right, another player getting excessively tripped up by that mind pattern in the little trap beat section. They both pick up misses regardless, though. Some difficult footwork off center there, but Jay Henny still holding the lead.
Yeah.
Coming up to the outro.
Holding a healthy 5K lead on top of that.
All right. Very convincing game 2 from Jay Henny, 97 to 91. Yeah, very good overall accuracy, mistakes notwithstanding. right, and a Test My Best Game 3.
Just test my best and find out if you like it. And the rest is dependent on you. Come close to me, and when we are united, you will see it's all so true. Just test my best and find out I'm not faking. Don't take less when you can get it all. Just hold me tight, what you're giving, I'm taking. Baby, stay with me tonight. It's alright.
Always interesting to see what arrow colors people or arrow styles people go with. I don't think I'm too familiar with the one on the right. Has a very interesting like hold or freeze arrow.
Yeah, it's more reminiscent of like a earlier in the groove note skin.
Yeah, for sure.
And Jay Henny at the halfway point, hold down to that gold combo. And it's then picked up late on an up arrow very early on in the chart, but it's been holding on with the combo otherwise. It's not over till it's over. Excellent timing from Jay Henny on those eighth note drills. A very strong 99.6 to close out game 3.
Very nice indeed. Closing out 3-0, making it on to, I believe that will be winners round 2.
Yes.
So winners quarters.
Quarters. Yeah, making some good progress on the winner side bracket here. I think we'll probably be spending a lot of our time on stream in the loser side going forward.
Yeah.
As
for
I'm
sure.
seeing, there are only 3 matches on winner side, but that was a round 1 match for the pool. So now we have losers is more open. We are
There are matches that can happen.
less blocked up now on that side of the bracket.
For sure. All right, cool. I'm gonna fix the mic over at the cab and also just sign off for the time being.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you
On the
very
next
much. Fingers crossed. Here we go. All right. See y'all.
Yeah, so I believe we are probably still unable to move certain matches along due to conflicts with other games. I will go ahead and kick it back over to our bracket view and catch up on what we've got. So, as I mentioned before, we are most of the way through our winner side bracket. We have Allery and Jay Henny on deck. Winner of that plays BAP. Winner of that plays Caffeine. Winner of that finals match advances. Loser side, we still got quite a few matches to go here. We will not have this match here proceed until we have pushed winner side further along. But got a little bit of progress going on here, especially with this side being open as well. So I suspect once we can get Allery, Jay Henny moved along, that will help facilitate about half of the loser side bracket. And hopefully we can push through this and get our pool 1 closed out in a timely fashion. It looks like we are over the halfway mark in terms of matches, so off to a good start so far. tournament ongoing. Must be real busy over on the other games. Probably should have muted before that, but we just had spectators climb on the pads. Can't have that. We need the machine for tournament. Hello, chat. We are patiently waiting. Well, you do not need to wait any longer because we've got a match. Now, I saw that they were, I saw our spectators had also poked over to the secondary stream and noticed there was a microphone for pad noise to use. I can selectively edit the VOD later if need be. No worries there. So it looks like we have Jay Henny Ellery on deck to play. Just waiting for our players to card in, or at least start the credit. We have about 4 or 5 other music game tournaments ongoing with broadcasts.
StepManiaX.
As you can see, the connection gets a little spotty sometimes, so we may not always have profile login available.
Select difficulty. Hard mode. Hard mode select. Select a song.
Just trying to see if we were moving towards our first song or a warm-up. I think we're in the right letter, but the wrong difficulty. The nice, slow selection scroll. Past I am on Polka. What could we possibly be looking for here?
Music selected.
That's a good choice for a warm-up. I do like this song.
Player 1 ready. Confirm selection. Once you're rocking, there ain't no stopping. Are you ready? Begin.
All right, nice little warm up.
Quick star.
Wait and see. We get into game one momentarily.
Select the next track. Selected. Options.
And for our set, joining me on the microphone, Jelly Slosh.
Hello, Maniacs. I'm back for a little bit to give some commentary to Jay Henny in the Cup versus Allery.
Yeah, we've had a real intense pool
This
one
is a
so
great
far, I
choice.
feel.
I'm starting crew at 3 at 5 o'clock.
So while Mr. Slosh handles administrative business, I'll get us started on game one here. Avon Polka.
I think it's winner's final in my pool, so I got a little bit more I need for a winner's final. Okay. I can flex him as much as possible. He went to get food. He went to get food.
Quite the striking background animation for this song. I am a fan.
Good old leak spin. Ooh, lead trade.
Yeah, Allery pulls out a slight lead for a moment there, off of Jay Henny getting a couple of lates. But there's a lot going on in this match. Feels like these unforced errors in both players taking turns sharing the lead.
200 combo.
All right, let's see how they handle the stop. A little late on that stop from Allery's side. Might have cost her the match.
It's still close enough that a last-minute mistake could swing it, but I think Jay Henny is going to
Ooh.
secure that.
But it was like right there, up to the stop.
Yeah. I think it was the stop, and then Allery followed it up with a couple more yellows afterwards, swinging the lead ultimately. A good opening show, though. Not bad.
And coming up next will be Jay Henny's Protect, Go 60 Go.
That's a spicy pick.
It's very interesting seeing the hard charts with these, given how much different they are compared to their wild mode counterparts. You know, Ivan Polka is a very, very streamy song in comparison to its hard chart. A lot of very friendly introduction to eighth note patterns and even note groups and odd note groups.
Yeah, and also, like, commenting stylistically on how charts for the game are written. Nowadays, I feel like there's a better sense of progression in the singles charts. They kind of build up the same idea, if you will, towards what you would see in the wild as like the full realization of what a chart could be. Some of these older charts, especially the ones where there is a sizable gap in difficulty. So you can see here, Go 60 Go is an 18 on hard and a 24 on wild.
And then even the 11 to 18 jump's really big.
Yeah, the difficulty gradient's a lot smoother with newer charts and newer songs added to the game. I also think some of these older charts where there's differences, that's significant in the difficulty. It's like the charting styles are very different as well. So the 18 is nothing quite like the 24.
Yeah, so Allery just adjusted her sensitivity a bit. She was getting a couple late starts. She might be used to different sensitivity on a different machine. So that's one of the great things about StepManiaX. You can kind of change your preferences to your liking. It's a double-edged sword sometimes. Sometimes it kind of gets in your head when you think too much about the sensitivity.
I think the sensitivity differences are ultimately not that significant in terms of the actual values, if you will, for registering the pad hits, but we'll see if it plays out in her favor here in game two.
Yeah, both players perfectly executing a little scratch there with the gallops.
100 combo.
Still neck and neck over here.
Yeah, very good goal combo so far, given that these patterns are very twisty. Jay Henny picks up first early, but still holds on to a point lead, owing to better overall accuracy.
Very tricky rhythm to hit. And you gotta watch these mines here.
Allery picks up a lot of mine hits.
Yeah, it's very tricky to know where to put your feet when you see all the mines take up every column.
Getting tripped up by that center panel twist. I think Jay Henny's built a bit of a lead that'll be difficult to surmount.
Especially if he stays locked in. He has an ITG DDR background as well in his pumps. He's very well versed in a lot of different patterns.
All right, takes the
Very solid
98.
98. That was very tricky. That one got a lot harder in the second half of the song rhythmically.
No, it's a very, very difficult hard 18. If that was Allery's first time playing that, then I think that's a respectable score, given the complexity of the pattern.
All right, and coming up next, we're looking at Bleep Bloop on hard mode. This was Storm's qualifier last year, but the wild chart was the one chosen for the qualifying.
Yeah, and we saw this earlier today with Invis's match on stream as well.
Select the next
So you already know what to expect here with these syncopated patterns and a surprisingly challenging center panel section towards the end.
Okay. Select options. Player 1, ready.
Quick button check here. Mostly make your settings are good to go.
The journey to magnificence has only just begun.
All right. Jay Henny in the cup up 2-0 going into song 3. Let's see if Allery can bring it back and give herself some life back into this match. Both players handling the syncopated patterns pretty well. Now getting a little bit tripped up by these rhythms here in this part of the song.
Yeah, Jay Henny picks up first miss. I cannot fault him for that though, given that, at least imagining the footwork in my head, there is kind of like this 180-degree like rotation you have to do to get in place for it.
And then you don't see too much of this in hardball. There's a couple rolls here with the quotas on the heads. You have to hit the note that many times to resolve it.
Yeah, Allery not too far behind. That's still a difference that can be made up at the very end of the chart. See how players fare.
Especially
be
these
very
center
careful
patterns.
on your footwork.
Tripping up both players here. Very unique patterns to SMX.
Although players hang on to see to the end of the song, taking a couple of blows, but Jay Henny holds it out for a victory at 95K.
Each step was music to my ears.
And with that, Jay Henny advances to the next round. Allery moves to loser's bracket. So let's see who's up next.
Yeah, I think the match over on the secondary stream looks like it could be a tournament match, and I believe it is
a loser's bracket match.
Michael B. Jennett, NSM, is in progress over there.
So we got to go find BAP to play against Jay Henny for winner's semifinal pool 1. So let's go ahead and fetch him. I'll be right back.
I think we'll probably see Invis versus the winner of that match on the secondary stream. Pinned in the chat over twitch.tv/PilotVG if you want to tune in for that. So lots of exciting matches still yet to come.
Are you sure? Player 1 removed. Score results.
So yeah, quite the pool one we've got going so far. Lots of really cool matches and interesting charts pulled out already as we wait for our next set of competitors to arrive. Appreciate it. I think we're up to 7 people so far today who've complimented the shirt. I actually picked this up on my last visit to the Universal theme parks when I was last in the state of Florida a couple years back. First time back in the area in quite a moment, so I figured it was appropriate to bust out the fine wear for the broadcast, especially day one. Day two will be a little bit of a sweatier fit because I'll have to play. We'll make it work. So as a reminder, if you want to follow along with the tournament as well on StartGG, !! bracket in the chat. Give you a link to our Pool 1 match. So I believe we are seeing our matches drawn. Card draw is right off to my right. There's lively discussions happening around the card draw station. I just heard one song get declared as a banger, so must be something good showing up. All right, I believe that's Bap J. Henny stepping up on the pads, so let's go ahead and switch back over to the main view.
Okay, let's play. Select your
That's a set if I've ever seen one. Boy, howdy.
Select a song.
It looks like we're going to go straight into it for game one.
Okay. Options.
Melancholy Vision.
Confirm the song. Player 1 ready.
Yeah, overall, this is a very spicy set.
Okay.
We're going to start it off hitting it as hard as possible with Melancholy Vision at the upper end of difficulty for the draw. Bap J. Henny, game one. Starting out at this slow BPM, but then rocketing to its full scroll speed of 280 with these triplet gallops. It's like both players pick up an off judgment at the beginning, but quickly course correct. J. Henny holding on to a very slight lead. Coming now into this slowdown. Very difficult to time that note in isolation.
Combo.
All right, now for the long slowdown. Both players getting tripped up by that BPM change. Both players missing several notes. All right, holding tight though for the ending. Coming up to these long drills. Bap starts off on the wrong beat essentially. Misses a lot in the first drill. Giving Jay Henny a solid lead. I don't think it'll be sundered easily. That closes out with Jay Henny taking a convincing game one. 95K to 92. Seems quite happy about that victory. Looks like Melancholy was Bap's Protect, so always feels good to win on your opponent's Protect. Going back to Go 60 Go.
Your selection. Player 2 ready. Options.
It must be the banger he was referring to.
Okay, let's start.
He's grooving.
Are you ready? Go for it. Combo.
Both players holding on to a gold combo coming out of the first quarter of the chart. Jay Henny building up a slight lead until goes early on that jackhammer. Giving Bap a little bit of room to work with here coming at the halfway mark. All right, both players jumping out of the way of all those mines. Jay Henny eking out another slight lead on accuracy alone. It's so close though, right at the very end of the song. One more mistake could swing it either way. All right, Jay Henny slips back into the lead. Has a little pop-off. Sufficient enough gold count, despite the early, to keep the point lead.
Okay, select another.
So up 2-0 going into game 3.
Hello, hello.
And joining me on commentary, DDR Chad.
Hi, everyone. I am DDR Chad. We all know DDR stands for StepManiaX, because that is the game I play. How are y'all doing? Hope you're having a good Friday.
I'm having a good time watching this pool. It's been pretty hyped so far.
It's cool seeing so many people enter at different levels, and people who are starting out at this game, and also people who are like, oh, I play ITG or DDR, and I'm just going to enter this and see how it goes. And you know, having fun with that center button. And the timing window, going, oh, okay, I can ease up a little bit. I don't have to stress quite as much. Unless you're a pump player, and then in which case you're like, okay, this is hard still, but it's not DDR. And all the quality of life things. I just love being able, as somebody commentating, looking and going, oh, I know who's winning. It just shows you.
Yeah. As you can see, coming out of the first third of the chart, Bap's holding on to a slight lead here. Very close, though. We did see with Go 60 Go that Jay Henny eked out the victory on just raw accuracy in the back half. So there's still a lot to go here, especially for relatively dense 17, I'd say.
Yeah, if Bat keeps up the accuracy and the combo, think he's up by a good 500 points-ish. It's more than just a little bit. Oh, that late swung it. No. That accuracy.
Oh, wait. Back in the lead again. It's really close.
Lift?
All right, both
Wow.
players
Literally 12-point
missed the
difference.
lift.
It came down to that lift. Them both getting the exclamation point on the lift, actually swinging the match. If it's somebody, I think, because getting a lift versus that, it's got to be worth at least 12 points. Especially on a hard chart where there's less, because like I think you get a missed lift or like a
So I believe
imperfect lift, it's going to be like around a perfect's worth of points, which is going to be more than 20.
I believe common intuition says nailing a lift awards you points equivalent to about 2/3 of a perfectly hit tap note.
Yeah.
So to miss a lift doesn't award you any points necessarily, but
Well, you get the exclamation point one.
I would say point-wise, it's probably close to like it early or late, if you will. Jay Henny seems to be quite thrilled about that victory. Saw him
Yeah, that was
hop off
very
the
close.
pad and hug a spectator in the crowd. So good old passionate moments born of tournament gameplay here in Pool 1.
We're doing grand finals on this machine for this pool coming up. So we're going to see who takes it and who's moving on. Do you know if it's 1 or 2 people who are moving on from this pool?
So I can actually answer that for you by hopping over to our bracket view.
Oh, we do have a camera. Hi, everyone.
Yes, our spectator cam.
Hello.
Or commentator cam for our non-gameplay.
We're
scenes.
spectating.
We are spectators.
I didn't sign up as a commentator. I'm just here until
that's
tomorrow.
Glad to have folks in the community on the mic. But yes, so Caffeine Jay Henny will play it out in winners finals, and the winner of that will advance to the next pool. And then the winner
Then we have losers.
of
Okay.
the losers finals advances as well.
Gotcha. So we do have 2 people moving on. That's good. That's good. So there's a chance it could be both of them, or there's a chance whoever gets knocked down from winners just
Yeah, in theory,
also has a bad matchup with
both-
the other player. Maybe
both those
card draw.
players in winners finals could advance. Just one of them will have to advance out of the loser side of the pool.
Yeah.
Loser of that match goes straight into losers finals, so then they will play whoever claws their way up throughout the pool. So a little bit to go on the loser side, but it looks like we'll be reaching the conclusion of winners for this pool very shortly.
Yeah. Sweet, sweet.
Yeah, currently on our secondary stream, we have Invis versus Michael B. Jennett going on, so we'll know the outcome of that match shortly.
So we'll have a few more matches to get going before we'll have the person in losers finals waiting for person from grand finals. Winners finals, not grand, but yeah. Because they'll do winners final here shortly, but then all those lower matches have to happen before that second person who goes in match is going to be decided.
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's good competition. Hope y'all are excited. I'm excited. I'm super pumped to be here.
Yeah.
No,
This is,
no dance game, pun intended, because I'm not entered in Pump. But
You know, I'm really in the groove today with it. You know,
Oh, yeah,
I'm having a good time on comms.
some would say that this is a dance revolution, even a step revolution, if you will.
Yeah, you got a lot of StepManiaX here.
Oh yeah. Is there any other? Is there any other one we could throw in? Man, I'm so pumped right now. I'm in a dance rush. Ooh. Ooh. I'm ready to just get up and pop in on that stage.
Brother, you're putting me in the Voltex with these puns.
I kind of want to dance around. There we go. I kind of want to dance around a little bit. Are you ready to stomp arrows?
Do not
Oh.
remind me of the dreadful ticket game.
It was so funny seeing it yesterday because my level of excitement went from like I am. What are they gonna do? Holy crap! To oh man, that's what it is. That's it.
It's
man.
the ticket wheel. It's the ticket wheel game.
I was really hoping to see like it would be maybe like piano tiles, but with DDR. So you just keep hitting the next arrow that comes up.
A casual player's introduction to stamina.
Yeah, it would be like fun for somebody who's like not used to it and they're slow, and then people like us would walk up and we would just be streaming really fast and get a ton of tickets, and it looks cool. No. But instead we have the arrows coming from the middle.
But you know, unfortunately, I'm not really interested in any ticket games. I don't think we have any here. But speaking of tickets, you want to see who's going to punch their ticket to Pool 2 tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Because we got Jay Henny and Caffeine up on the pads getting ready for their set.
Oh, this is a fun set. We have So Deep and Disconnected Disco. So we've got those old school DDR ITG player protects, you know.
Oh, actually, what I think is fascinating here is that Disconnected Disco's, I think, the first time we're seeing a pocket pick on this stream.
Oh, was that? That was a pocket pick.
Yeah, so noted on the card draw by the blue color and the icon, that is a pocket pick being leveraged. So all of our players have access to special actions they can use once per tournament, one of them being the pocket pick, which is instead of your protect taking an existing song, you get to put instead a song of your choice, given it's valid for the range.
And of course, you're explaining that to the people watching and not me, because I am so ready for this pocket pick. And it's important as a competitor in the tournament.
You think anyone's read the rules for this tournament? Let's be real.
Maybe about 2% of the people, because there's, what, 50 entrants, and I read the rules, so, like, that would be 2%. So
it's
right
always good to make sure those of you joining us from home are clued in on everything.
Yeah. You've got 3 different options as far as the special actions. Pocket pick being one of them. You have a set redraw, and you have a single song redraw. Now, you can do all 3 of them throughout the tournament, but you can only do one of them per match. So you can't go, oh, I'm going to pocket pick this, and we're going to redraw a song during the same match. It's just too much. So it's actually really important to know what options you have and how far you're thinking you're going to go in the tournament and using those, because if you get knocked out when you didn't use any, well, you should have at least used one. And just being prepared for that as a competitor is a big part of it, because at the end of the day, we are competing head-to-head, but the only thing you can do is the best you can do on a chart. The only real counterplaying in meta, as far as that goes,
the only influence you have over your
is the card draw.
Is
card draw and going, oh, I'm familiar with this song, or no, I'm not familiar with this song, or their strengths are here and here. And just being ready for that's important. So having those special options, you know, in your memory bank, and being able to go, oh, I want to do this song against this person, or oh no, I'm going to redraw because this song just ain't happening. It's very important to know.
Yeah, and a pocket pick in particular, given that it lets you effectively replace something in the draw to something entirely of your choosing, which for most people's sake, I hope is something they're very comfortable and strong on. It's definitely
paranoid.
The most powerful of those options. The others are useful for influencing the draw, but they do not always influence the draw in your favor. A pocket pick very much is always in your favor, should you wield it correctly.
Now, you can get lucky and go, hey, this one song is literally my worst song, and I'm going to do a song redraw on it, because then you know it's going to be something better. But there are times, yeah, you do a redraw, and all of a sudden you go, oh man, the Terminator.
Dude, you can make it worse. You can make it much worse for yourself.
Oh no. What else would be? Soapy. Yeah. So you could get Soapy Bubble. It'd be like, tech.
Soapy Bubble. All right.
All right, competitors giving a friendly hug.
Are hugging it out.
And we are going into song number 1, So Deep, which was Jay Henny's Protect.
Are you ready?
Yeah, we saw this played earlier in the tournament, and I think it was Caffeine who put up some serious numbers on it. Early late is not what you want to see on an up-down jump, but there's plenty of time to make up a single perfect's worth of difference.
Oh yeah, this could easily happen either way. Slight lead for Jay Henny right now. You really hear Caffeine just giving those ghost steps.
Yeah, both of these players have been very on point with their overall timing, so you can see now the lead has swung back in Caffeine's favor. I think it's really going to come down to yellow count on a chart like this.
Up by, I think, 150 points. So probably just a matter of two perfects or so.
Yeah, one thing that really matters a lot more on these low-level charts, we don't really talk about it a lot because it's not always very pertinent, but the score is always out of 100,000, and so any individual mistake is amplified more, like those earlies from both players, but it kind of washes out, and Caffeine holds on to a slight lead.
A few perfects here and there, but I think, yep, as long as those holds are held, yeah, keeping it. I think it was, yeah, both of them snagged just a center pad. Like, if we look at the graphs, it was probably...
It was right around the
basically
same point.
the exact same point. Probably the same arrow,
I think
even.
Out of the corner of my eye, I think Jay Henny might have clipped like down arrow mistakenly instead or something, but still in the same neighborhood. So, but not terribly tragic, as it didn't really change the lead or the dynamics of the game that much.
All right, now we have Disconnected Disco, which was Caffeine's pick.
Yes.
And he's taking the first song that was actually Jay Henny's Protect. So we'll see if he's able to go up 2-0 or if both people are going to win on each other's protects. And again, this was a pocket pick.
Yeah,
so
it's a good place to be if you're Caffeine because you have the momentum from winning song 1 on your opponent's protect, now going into your pocket pick. So let's hope you carry the momentum and execute this one correctly.
And let's see these players get jazzy.
Well, you can't see it, but we're grooving on the comms desk.
Oh, when you're making a phone call, please check the number.
Yeah, so Caffeine started out with a couple of late perfects, but seems to be swinging the lead back in his favor. It picks up a miss.
Very unfortunate miss there.
All right, I think this is going to come down to a matter of chart knowledge, given what the middle consists of.
Another miss.
Looks like a held miss on center. But still closing the gap. You can see some flashing leads. And now coming into this section.
Yeah, here comes the gimmicks. Oh,
yeah,
that totally ate
Jay Henny gets tripped up by the gimmick.
We're going to have another one here. Okay, and that's a huge lead at this point.
Yeah.
It would take a lot of misses.
The trick there is while the note coloration changes, where the downbeat falls is still on the quarter.
Yep.
So if you're not ready to mentally shift where your red and blue notes are, it results in what you saw on Jay Henny's side, picking up like the earlies and the misses coming out of those stops. But Caffeine knew it,
this, yeah,
as you would expect out of the pocket pick, and takes game 2 convincingly.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of these lowers pools and the level ranges we've chosen. There are some really interesting charts competitively in this 16 to 19 range.
Yeah.
And I'm thrilled we got to see one of them applied very effectively here with Disconnected Disco.
We'd love to see Lunatic get happening. But I think a lot of players would probably want to veto that if they're familiar with what it throws at them and that they're not ready for it.
I'm going to have to double check because I know... actually, let me take a quick gander at bracket before I comment on someone else's available tools. So, doing a little research while we queue up for Far Out on Game 3.
It's a newer song. So the hard 18s, not easy. Not easy. Definitely can
it's,
throw some stuff at you. I don't remember exactly what's in this chart, but I remember it being good. And we do have the gimmick in the middle too, the freeze for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1.
As you can see, starting out, like those broken up like 16 patterns, really just difficult syncopation. I think the actual footwork itself isn't too demanding, but timing all of those patterns correctly gets challenging. Yeah, Caffeine
Center panel stuff.
starts out on the wrong beat there, but still holding up over Jay Henny, eking back out another lead.
Few hundred points ahead.
That's close.
Another center panel with that down arrow. That's very tough to do. Is you have to make sure that you're turning enough without having your foot that's on the down arrow just covering center.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Not quite as bad without that 8th note there, like on the wild chart.
Yep, just the trick for most of the stops in this game. Just count your beats of rest.
Still close though, and anything could happen.
Yeah, it looks like Caffeine's holding on to that slight lead. Jay Henny picks up a
About
miss.
500.
Starts again out of the stop on the wrong note. And Caffeine closes out a 3-0.
Yes.
Hug it out.
So Caffeine moving to the next pool. Jay Henny going to the loser's side, and
Yeah, let's,
still getting a shot to make it out of the pool.
Let's jump back for a second and look at our bracket camera. So, yeah, Jay Henny will sit nice and comfortably in losers finals and gets one more shot to make it out of the pool. With the way he's been playing, I think he's got a solid shot.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
I wouldn't sleep on looking at Lil Chris making his way up the bracket. He's really had some stellar scores along the way. So there's a lot that can happen.
A lot of stepping to do, a lot of stuff to figure out. And again, a lot of this does come down to being familiar with a chart and having the right step rhetoric, because we do have players who are kind of more unfamiliar with the center panel, and that just can swing something so fast. Where, oh, I had my foot on the center, center panel while going for down, and now I have to hit center. And just being familiar with, using your toes or turning more, and just knowing the charts comes down to a lot of it. Looks like our players are going to warm up on a wild chart.
Busted out wild. Here's a preview of what you'll see on Saturday.
So for our card draw, it looks like we have the protects for Swipe and Ecstasis. Ecstasis being a pretty brand new song, about 2 weeks old.
Yes.
We have Monolith card, Dr. M, and Heaven on Earth. So we're gonna go right into the harder stuff with the 18, 19s, and then go to the 17s if we get to song 4 and 5.
There's a lot going on in this warm-up.
You always got to ask in this section here, do you do all the tech or do you just double step it? Because that's the hardest part probably in the chart, is the little center arrow crossover that happens right here.
But how many hell misses I get on foot switches, you bet I'm doing some fancy footwork to double step everything. This part feels good to do properly, though.
Oh, yeah.
Bump butt up.
Good passes by both players. Nice and warmed up with a chart that's techy but slow. Good number of steps, but you're not going to get too tired playing it, especially if you're just going, oh, I'm trying to just warm myself up to play whatever.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that little preview of what's to come in the upper pools tomorrow. We are going back to our nice, pleasant comfort zone of hard 18s.
I will say swipe on hard. I remember just the lowers on swipe being difficult. Like timing this song is not easy at all. I don't know if it's a little bit of just the sync might not be perfectly spot on, or if it's just doing the swing notes. You've got a lot of 12th notes coming in. Just makes it tricky, so we'll see how it goes for these two.
Yeah, these songs that rely more on triplets rather than your traditional like quarter and eighth note subdivisions, that can be very tricky to learn for the first time. The good thing is, Swipe is interesting in that I feel for a triplet intense song, it's more streamy than gallopy, which is, I think, a rarity in the dance game. This has got some respectably difficult footwork there with those crossovers. Watch those players putting their legs in front of each other to keep alternating steps going.
You also have to be ready for having your swing notes, but also just eighth notes. You have to switch up between the two of them at a slower pace, too, than some other songs that do that.
200 combo.
So really, this is just going to come down to timing, both players keeping a full combo. Michael having won early, but overall timing better and up by about 100 points. Commentators curse, it goes 100 points the other way.
The lead is very tenuous.
Yeah.
300 combo.
Kyle Ward was there.
There's Kyle Ward.
I don't know if I've ever seen Kyle on the swipe screen.
Hi, Kyle.
Bab's still up at the end.
Bab takes game
By
one.
about 500, just keeping that accuracy a little more intact. Being a very close match, though, and that late costing, you know, just enough, along with probably some less borderline perfects overall, making that bigger swing. I know a lot of players who are familiar with DDR would look at something like that and be like, oh, well, that one miss should only cost this, you know, and seeing the difference. But with StepManiaX, for those who are unfamiliar, the further away you are from your white perfect, the more points you lose. So if you get a perfect, you could be missing like maybe 10%-ish of the points, roughly, that you would get for your white perfect, up to you getting a really, really early or really late, and you miss almost all the points and get only like
so
15,
you are rewarded
12%
for
of that.
more even, consistent timing.
So you might
Get that
somebody,
EX score stuff out of here.
Yeah.
We're all about the money in this game. And getting into game 2 here on X Stasis. This is from the new update, just dropped about 2 weeks ago, a little more than that. It's right within the window to be tournament legal.
And this was a really fun chart, I remember. These gallops being a little tricky, feels very DDR chart, you know, coded, very DDR coded.
I wonder why. Next thing you know, they're going to tell me they got the guy who did the DDR music to do this one or something.
You know, I think D-Complex was in one of the DDR versions. I don't know.
Exploding head emoji.
Ooh, the slowdown catching both players kind of
These
off
players'
guard.
heads are exploding at that slowdown. But both made a similar level mistake, and Bab still holds on to the lead.
By a few thousand at this point.
Yeah,
so
really
the
grows
transition
a
here into
steady
the
lead.
faster part, as long as he keeps the gameplay up like he was showing, should go to Bab. I forget if the triplets are charted here or if it's just like longer holds.
I think it's only quarters in the back,
but
we'll
I don't think it should be a swing of 3,000, even with a miss or two.
No, it is the triplets.
You just have less jumps in the wild chart, so.
Yeah, 4,000 point lead. Bab takes the game 2.
5-star.
A stellar commendation from the audience for Bab.
All right, now we go to Monolith Hard. Not Max 428 Hard, thank goodness.
Nah, we're going to the Monolith.
Options.
I love this song so much. I would even say I have an affinity for it. I think I used that correctly. I don't know. I think I used it correctly. Yeah, I'm so sorry you have to listen to me yap about dance games. I love dance games way too much.
I thought I was bad at
So
the
we start
jokes.
with a half speed here, and then kick it into high gear.
Yeah, look at that 196 BPM.
I want to say that Michael used an X mod on Ecstasis and accidentally left it.
Yeah,
because
that
that
looks
looks very fast right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, it looks like the match is already decided because there's a 6,000 point lead, and BAP is keeping
Just
combo.
look at your opponent's side screen.
That's really what you have to do. But even now, it's kind of too late. Unless, you know, BAP has a thing with, like, you know, you slip and, like,
there is like
your ankle gives out, and then
there's
you
a
can't play.
teeny tiny stop in which, in theory, you could touch that gear icon to change your scroll speed, but no, unfortunately, I just think a misselected scroll speed is just going to give a near 10,000 point lead to BAP. Which, speaking of, BAP is holding on phenomenally.
I do see Michael is looking at BAP's side.
Yeah,
So
BAP
that
like,
definitely was a mistake.
BAP's performance on this, though, is stellar so far, holding on. This is 196 BPM with 16s. This is far more foot speed than we've seen in the tournament today. Gets the hell miss at the very end, but
whatever. It is what it is. I think he just exclaimed didn't change the speed or something like that.
You'd be hard pressed to buck up against that score on Monolith, though. So good showing from BAP to take game 3.
So BAP will be moving from losers quarters to losers semis, and then we'll have that match, and whoever wins that match will be going up against Jay Henney to see who moves on still.
So it looks like off stream we had Invis, Michael B. Jennett. Michael B. Jennett takes the lead. So this was the game we just saw. So looks like Lil Chris Allery, and then yeah, we only got 3 sets to go, and then we're done with pool 1.
Yeah. Some good StepManiaX.
What a crazy idea that a best-of-5 dance game tournament could run on schedule.
I know. Thank goodness for minute and a half, for 90-second long songs.
Thank you, Kyle Ward.
Because every time I go back to DDR and have to play a song and it's 2 minutes long, I'm like, is it over? When is it over?
You got to go back to like the third mix folder. For
When I'm playing Extreme, it's the same deal. It's like everything. There's some Extreme songs that are a minute long, like flat out just 1 minute and that's it. So it's nice coming here and going, okay, 90 seconds is it. And I think the longest song in Extreme is Kakume at 140. So everything is like the same length.
Indeed. So we're going to go ahead and toss it back over to our main
Look at our
view.
card draw. We've got a pocket pick from Allery for Shoyu. I think she had posted a score on this recently and got a very good score on it. I remember playing this song recently and thinking to myself, this might be on the lower end of the 17s. It feeling very straightforward, but I don't recall if it has much center arrow movement.
I mean,
center arrow.
At this juncture in the bracket as well, if you're in loser side and you feel threatened by your opponent, I don't think it's a problem to necessarily pull out your pocket pick here. So I think Allery's making a perfectly fine decision invoking this for game 1.
Yeah, because this can decide who's moving on in the pool.
Yes.
You want to use, like I had said earlier, you want to use all of your options.
If you lose this set, you're out. We got many fans of Allery showing support in the chat, so here we go.
Both players keeping the perfect full combo. The lifts there, getting an imperfect lift. Tricking Allery up just a little bit. Still close.
Yeah, with 2 missed lifts, I think you really need your opponent to pick up a miss to close the gap appreciably. That or just
Yeah, it looks like
out
it is
yellow
over
combo.
1,000 at this point. And Little Chris holding on very well. We go into the end of the song, really just, you know, ramping it down. And Chris taking that song.
Wow.
I guess it was solid. Less than 1,000, but like at 998, yeah, 2 perfects. You have to just basically APC or 1 perfect.
That's a pretty strong hex.
That is a very good tournament score.
What a powerful curse.
And no bar while reading that slow. That is not easy to do.
Well, let's see if our players could truly read slow. We're getting faster. It says we're getting faster on the screen.
Did you see? I'm trying to think of who asked, but they had asked.
It was Senpai who had asked Darwin.
Like, why is it called "We're Getting Faster" when the lyrics are "We're Going Faster"? And
The
his
response he got was,
"I don't know."
I don't know.
it just is.
Now, despite the name of the song, we do not, in fact, go faster.
This is as fast as it gets. It will slow down and
We're
then
going
go
to have
fast.
a really gnarly slowdown soon. Allery picks up a center panel miss right at the beginning. And here we go. Nice and slow.
This part being very tricky to time, going with that acoustic guitar. Especially if you're not ghost stepping.
Yeah, there's
I
like
feel.
no percussion, no bass the time too.
Yeah, you're just going with the acoustic guitar.
Yeah, both players are having trouble locking in there. Little Chris still in the lead, but still struggling as well with keeping some of those syncopated patterns in check.
Up by about 2,000.
It's about his stride more towards the very end of this section. Back to the remainder of the speed this chart runs at.
Both players double stepping those crossovers, as you'd kind of expect for something like this. Much easier just to double step from up to left, up to right, and go back. And it looks like Little Chris will be taking this one with a very healthy lead. We still have song 3.
You know where we're going for song 3.
Going to space.
Space Boy. Good luck timing that in a venue like this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Good luck hearing half
Almost
the song.
no instrumentation, no bass, little percussion to speak of. Time to vocals. So,
but like, don't go to the vocal. Like just your intuition has to kick in.
So, the wonderful thing about the human voice is it is not a machine-precise synthesizer. And so, normally when you have a song and you sync it up to steps in the game, you usually have a very precise point in the waveform you can follow that, you know, sounds right on point. Vocals are not machine precision sound, so it's very difficult to line up, and I'm certain we'll see some fantastic timing, like that held miss.
Yeah, strange miss there.
That probably indicated hitting it way too early, if anything. But yeah, so those arrows follow those vocals. That can be very difficult to time within just a handful of milliseconds. Little Chris building a respectable lead in this first chorus. Coming down to the second verse, we're going to slow it back down.
Where'd the song go? Oh, there's a little bit of it. I hear some hi-hats, I think.
Oh, listen to that, like glissando.
Oh, there it is. There's the build-up. And we've got 15% of the song left at this point. I remember somebody went to pick this once at the arcade when it was really busy, and I had to tell them, hey, half the song's quiet. And they go, oh, yeah. And I was like, yeah, let's not pick this song right now. And with that, Lil Chris will be taking song 3, winning the set, and moving on to semifinals.
Slowly but surely progressing. Good showing from Mallory.
Yeah, and tricky songs to have to do both. We're getting faster in Spaceboy. I mean, just the slowdowns
That's a
and the
really
instrumentation,
brutal
both
draw
of those.
to go into.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Hopefully we'll get the set shortly for our next match. I think I'm going to kick it back over to bracket view once again. So now we're at the point where every match has a dependency on the next winner, so we're probably going to have a couple of minutes downtime between each set as card draw is run.
Yeah.
A little difficult to run a draw when you don't know for certain that both players are going to be there.
Right. But we should have our semifinal match and then losers finals, and then we'll have our 2 people decided for who's moving to the pool, or second person, because we have 1 already decided with Caffeine.
Yeah,
making
so
it
we are
on
2
the
sets
winner's
away from wrapping up pool 1 today.
Yeah. Good time, good matches.
This was I think sometimes for your very early on pools, if you will, your low-level pools, you do see blowouts. You know, we saw quite a few 3-0s throughout the day. Sometimes you get really close matches. These low-level pools, I think, you risk much more volatile matches overall. But I think we've been seeing a lot of very competitive, very steady sets.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, only a handful it's been decided early on where you see somebody's timing is just much more there. And a lot of it coming down to chart knowledge. I mean, we saw the match of Caffeine and Jay Honey,
Yes.
Honey, going one way because of the gimmicks in Disconnected Disco. You know, it could have been the other way had there not been gimmicks or had there been that chart knowledge.
Yeah. Now, you know, these kinds of pools where you have players focusing on the lower level end of content as far as competitive matches go, what is it? I think you have some players who may cap out or like plateau at a certain point, and then once they push harder content, then their ability falls off. And you don't necessarily want to put those players into a pool where they have to play things far out of their comfort range.
Right.
And then as you saw here, we had some first-time competitors, people who are more new to the tournament circuit, you know, maybe not necessarily hexing or having the strongest timing overall.
Or some people who are just not familiar with that center panel coming from ITG, DDR.
Don't have the game history or scores to back it up from other games. So there is a really wide range of possible skill levels and skill sets you can see in this pool. So I think the fact that we had some very cool sets today and got to see paths to victory in all different manners is a real testament to how competitive this event is.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like we have our competitors, at least one of them getting up. I think they must, we have the card draw ready.
I see
one
a
of them.
card draw photo
Chris taking
being
a picture
taken, so
of it.
that
So
probably
let's see
means
what
it's on stream.
We'll see. All right. Got some good stuff. We got some good stuff. We are going with a 16 first with Charlene. But then there on out, it's kind of the tough stuff. If we get to song 5, we'll see Music is Moving, 19. Good chart. Our second protect was Temple of Boom. I'm trying to think. We don't have any gimmicks here, really, do we? No.
No, this is a very fundamentals-oriented draw, if I say so myself.
We're starting out with the ITG Boomer songs.
How am I supposed to play this without all my mines?
More comfortably, of course. I went and practiced Charlene the other day, and I was like, God, I forgot how many mines are just thrown in here that you have to watch out for.
Just the stamina chart at that point. Just a bunch of runs, bunch of step jumps. But getting to the much more tame hard 16 for game 1.
Let's see how this goes for both Bap and Lil Chris. We go into song number 1.
Yeah, lots of these note clusters starting on like an upbeat or another unusual position. Lil Chris has shown he has exceptional timing on these straightforward, low-density charts so far. So
yeah, I'm actually a little surprised to see that this was Bap's Protect and not Chris's, considering that exact thing that you just mentioned, the timing being really good. You'd think with less steps you'd be more worried, but maybe Bap just knows the song better or just felt comfortable with the lower levels.
I mean, additionally, some of these players may not necessarily have a lot of experience or knowledge of the hard folder, especially towards the lower end, depending on what they play. So sometimes, you know, you just have to, you got to make a Protect. You can't just leave it on the table.
Yep.
I think sometimes you just have to fire from the hip, and you don't always hit in that situation.
About 400 point difference, a little more now with an early. Chris keeping that timing together. Coming out of the verse and pre-chorus, it was really close, but it looks like Chris just kept his timing together really well to take song number 1. The 995, both players with the PFC, just coming down to timing.
Yeah, Lil Chris takes game 1.
Interesting to note, this is the one song that was erotic, but it was named by Missing Heart, and it stayed named as Missing Heart, whereas the other Missing Heart song from In the Groove that came to SMX was changed to erotic.
Yeah, there was I believe there was a bit of a schism within the band, as all good Eurodance act seems to experience, and the licensing situation is probably interesting there. And that is interesting, as this version of the chart having notes before that
The
long
one.
hold.
Yep.
Very different from its other incarnations. But yeah, so Temple of Boom, very syncopated, very streamy in a sense, although I don't think this chart leans into long, unbroken stretches like the Wild does. A couple twists here and there.
Crossovers there, being I think both players double stepped probably. It's still close, but it looks like Chris is keeping his timing together a little bit better than Bap is. But anything could happen still.
Yeah, very tricky section there where you spend a lot of time on the 16th as the primary rhythm. Both players nail it.
Chris will take song number 2 with the 99.4. Another, both players getting the PFC, but just coming down to that Turpin count. And that'll take us to our 3rd song, Make It Tonight. And we'll see if Lil Chris will make it tonight. If he will get this 3rd song win and move up to go to losers finals against Jay Henny and potentially move on to tomorrow in the 2nd pool.
Yes. Getting ever so closer to the very end here.
I'll get that song off the screen, please.
Medicine.
We don't have that in tournament. We don't need your medicine.
Yeah, so at least having seen almost all the sets today and all these players' tendencies and skill sets put out on show on stream, I do think this set does favor Lil Chris very heavily as it stands, going out to our game 3. He has exceptionally good timing, especially when it's just like sustained, simple patterns, and that's really what this chart is. You spend a lot of time on the upbeat instead of the downbeat in places, but it's fairly reasonable to shift where you're mentally focused, as really that kind of several blue notes in a row, it's no more different than hitting several red notes in a row. It just falls somewhere else with respect to the song. And given that Lil Chris has shown that his basic timing fundamentals are really good, I think without additional syncopation or tricky patterns in the mix to, test his skill set, he may run away with this and over the top, which is straightforward in a similar way. But we'll see, because BAF is keeping it very close, coming to the halfway mark.
Yeah, only a few hundred. Both players getting a few extra lates during this section. The percussion kind of drops out for a sec here. That was about 600 difference, I think, now. Looks like Lil Chris will be taking song 3 and going up against Jay Henny for the next one. The 99570.
Yeah.
Very good showing on timing.
Exactly as I predicted.
Yep.
So, gonna take a split second to hop back over to our bracket view and see. Yeah, so Lil Chris and Jay Henny were coming from separate sides of the bracket, so we get to see them meet now.
Yep.
Right at the very end.
Both players having good timing, but it looks like Lil Chris being more familiar with the game. But that just doesn't mean that it's decided one way or another. You don't know until you see that final score at the end. Unless somebody stops playing, unless somebody fails or stops playing, in which case, obviously, of course,
no, it's
decided.
Never over till it's over.
So we are getting our card draw ready for our final 2 players for the pool today before moving over to, I believe, women's non-binary.
Yes.
Is
scheduled to start at 6, so if this
yeah.
card draw scatters along right on schedule, I think we're looking at a perfect start time.
Yeah, and not a yellow perfect, but a white one. We got 2 exclamation
2 exclamation points.
2.
Now, the card draw laptop is just a little too far away that I can't necessarily glance over at it, but our card draw expert, Arul, is on the case. She's very good at facilitating that particular function of the event.
I do see Chris fanning himself off. I wonder if he's a little bit tired from the having to play so much, but just playing no bar, So Jay Henny having had a little bit of a break, they'll probably want to warm up, but who knows? They might just go right into it. It might just be that kind of feeling of, okay, let's get it over with. I don't even want to play a different song first. Let's just play whatever we're doing.
Indeed. I apologize if it looks like I'm looking completely away from you, disinterested in the event. I'm witnessing the card draw.
Excuse me, chat. Yo.
Okay.
DDR, man.
DDR?
DDR?
We don't talk about that here.
Talk about what? I just blacked out and forgot what I was saying.
I'm more interested
Whoa,
in...
we've got StepManiaX. We got 2 cabs right in front of us, guys.
Hey, wait a minute. If you pop back over to that main scene and you look in the background of player 1's camera, you can see some Pump It Up.
Isn't that a song in the game?
No, you're thinking of Pump It.
Oh, yeah. But there's up arrows in Pump It. So, Pump It Up?
Sure. We'll go with that.
Chat, if you're ever wondering, who the heck is this guy talking? My name is DDR Chad, and at any moment that I'm talking, you can hit that mute button and unmute and see if I'm not talking 20 seconds from now.
And this is Pilot speaking, and unfortunately I am not in control of the situation as the mixer from which I could use to mute chat is just out of reach.
You have to physically cover my mouth or rip the headset off.
Or very awkwardly clamber over the table. But instead, how about we keep those lines open and take a look here. So Jay Henney is going to be warming up on his own.
Looks like it, yeah.
And Little Chris will have a moment of respite before he gets back on the pad.
What's up, Yoshi? Good to see you in chat. Happy to see all y'all watching today. Hope you all are having a good day and are excited for a good weekend of dance gaming.
Oh, yes? We got almost all of our matches here, and plenty of gameplay fit for a tournament and plenty of gameplay not fit for tournament over on the secondary stream. Twitch.tv/PilotVG if you would like to see more convention activity. I think tomorrow we will have far more matches running on the second cabinet.
Yeah.
We got a lot of pools to blow through.
Yeah. And being on time I think that's the StepManiaX special right now. I think the one thing StepManiaX has over the other dance games is it feels like running on time is just easier.
Oh, we've got a lot of convenient quality of life features for player drop in, drop out. You can see in the options screen there's the login button, so players can switch profiles without needing to force quit the game or go back to the operator menu to restart a credit.
Yep.
Yeah, drop in, drop out. The menuing is quick with the touchscreen. The songs are shorter than other contemporary dance games. So, yeah, SMX usually runs faster by virtue of being a faster game to get through. Even with some pool delays, you know, with competing games for attention and some downtime that we had today. Thankfully, no maintenance needed so far. We've had plenty of opportunities to keep the event moving.
Very good 19. I like it. The fact that the hard part is following what it would normally do in the verse is just really nice. It makes for a very challenging hard chart.
Yeah, the nice thing about a lot of modern charting in this game is I think the singles charts at least generally build on concepts from each other very well. It's reasonable that you could transition from playing this to the 23. You know, given learning the rest of the skill growth there is there, but I think the design sensibilities, especially for the more modern charts, if you will. Energizer's a 2022 release, if I remember correctly. That's around when I started playing myself, and I think just about everything I've seen added to the game follows the good sensibility there.
Select the next song.
I guess we're having a second warm-up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Jay Henney has not played for a hot minute since we had our winter side finals, so 2 songs to get limber is very reasonable in my opinion.
So we might be a few minutes past 6 when it gets down to it. That's fine.
I think running only a few minutes short of schedule is miraculous for a 4-game multi.
Yeah.
Given the potential for conflict and chaos. So, looking good so far.
Whoa.
So while Jay Henny in the cup is getting through this clean run of Ladybug, I'm going to go a little bit through the card draw we got here. Opening up that first Protect, Rad Hard Plus, the 19. That's a very interesting chart here. It's a little bit more techier, if you will, than a lot of its other neighbors in that folder.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see in a tournament like this because typically tech patterns, if you will, kind of born out of the modern in-the-groove customs meta. You don't see a lot of those patterns until you really get into the trenches of Wild, but Rad Hard 19 is like a good introduction to what you can expect for that style of charting. Very syncopated, a couple of interesting little crossovers and switches you can do throughout it. Followed by Hanky Panky, very straightforward. Supernova, Land of the Rising Sun, also very simplistic. It's Last Time that gets very syncopated in places, and I think that'll be a very interesting chart to see executed.
And so we got Chris getting on the pad. Looks like we are going to be getting going.
Never know, maybe we have a third warm-up on the way.
I don't think so.
Probably not.
I Maniacs on Disney Channel. For those who don't know, the announcer for StepManiaX was the Disney Channel announcer.
Same guy?
Same person. So if that voice ever sounds familiar, well, that's exactly why. You probably recognize it if you were, you know, around our age, where it's like, oh, you're probably watching Disney Channel now and then and heard that voice shouting some stuff at you. Whose crew's the best?
My crew, the best.
My crew. Yeah, Chris reads at 250. Like, I thought I read slow. All right, here we go.
1x
for
no
losers
bar.
finals. Both players giving a quick fist bump, and we go right into it with our only 19 of the set. Chris hitting a couple mines there.
Standing on the mines. But yeah, you can already see that the density of syncopation in this a lot more tightly packed than many other hard charts we've seen today.
Yep.
And then that little like pseudo foot switch almost. Yep. So really a good primer to the kinds of things you can expect once you start pushing the upper end of the game.
We've got center panel spins.
Yeah, I think that's closer to like a 270 than a full 360. It's a very interesting little pattern. Jay Henny getting tripped up on that, but I think, unfortunately, the mine hits from Little Chris really put him behind in points for a bit here. So we'll see if both players keep this clean. I think there's still an opportunity for the lead to swing. Coming on down to the outro.
It's 23-point difference. Chris was up, but now Jay Henny's up with, I think, timing is better.
Chris picked up a late too, widening the gap a little more.
Another kick switch here.
Kick switch?
I think that's what they're called, is when you do arrow and have to come back.
What do
like
you think this is?
Style.
ITG Mania?
It's something. But yeah, the first song going to Jay Henny.
Yeah.
Just getting a little more tripped up by the end there.
I mean, very clean run, and
that was Jay Henny's Protect.
Yes. A very clean run there, and Little Chris with twice the number of perfects, equal numbers of off judgment, and the 2 mine hits. So it was definitely close for a bit, but I think the ending was definitely not in his favor for overall accuracy.
It looks like, based off of the Protects and the vetoes, that Jay Henny's mindset playing this was, let's do the harder things, because he protected a 19 where Chris vetoed a 19. Chris protecting a 17 where Jay Henny vetoed the only 16 in the card draw. So we'll see if Chris's timing holds up on this. And
I think there's a good chance his timing holds up here, given that this is a much simpler chart in comparison to some of the other things we see in the draw. Jay Henny's also locked in.
yep. I feel like this is a good song for sync because it's got the right kind of speed, the right kind of drum beat to be able to just stay on top of it. Yeah, those jacks. Forgot about that.
Center panel miss. You hate to see it.
Both just. No, I knew I shouldn't have said anything. I was like, we're trying not to commentators curse it. The moment I said any word, Chris got his first perfect. I was gonna say like, well, this might be the first APC in the tournament.
Don't say it. Don't think it.
And I just was gonna say we're trying not to curse it. That's what I was about to say. And as soon as I opened my mouth, dude.
Now I'm just keeping an eye on Jay Henny's overall accuracy.
Yeah, it looks close, but it looks like Chris has just got this. Yeah.
Yeah, good 6-star.
Yeah, Jay Henny going, oh, that miss cost it, but I think there may have been one or two perfects that were just a little less.
It would have come down to timing variance.
So it could have been a tie, but I don't know. I don't know if those were all borderline or if there was one or two that weren't, which would, of course, make it not a tie in that case if all Chris's were borderline. So we've got each player winning on their protect, and now we're going into just what we struck down to. So we got Supernova last time and Land of the Rising Sun. We're going to see at least 2 of the 3 songs here, and you know, potentially go to a song 5, just depending on how these 2 go.
Yeah, so again, knowing that Will Chris has really shown his wheelhouse is straightforward timing, I think this is, in my personal opinion, one of the easier 18s to time. And so I think this is very much in his wheelhouse. The one thing the players are going to have to look forward to is there is a pattern that resolves as a spin later on in the song. And if you're not paying too much attention to that coming up, that can easily trip you up. Otherwise, the song is a dream to time. For all of our Linus Tech Tip fans out there.
Is extremely close right now, with it flashing on Chris's side.
All right, here comes the little spin section.
Chris getting just a little tricked up by that.
Yeah, both players.
But Jay
taking
Henny
a
also
hit.
getting a perfect. That may. Wow, that was super close. Super close. I think one of those perfects from Jay Henny was just a little. Yeah, it was a little bit
look at
extra
how far
late.
out of the line that is.
Yeah, you see that one on the about 90% of the way in, go a little further out, costing a few more points. And that is the SMX special, where
I know
less perfects.
Chad had mentioned it earlier on the broadcast, but I'll go ahead and re-explain it again because I'm certain someone here is looking at this going, well, why didn't he win on the EX score? Well, that's because the perfect window, and also early and late by extension, are about 7 individual sub-windows that are worth more the closer you are to the center. So a very rough yellow perfect is actually worth less than a yellow perfect that's much tighter, closer in proximity to the white perfect window. So Although Jay Henny had more white perfects overall, that yellow perfect was far out enough that
I
it
think
cost
there was
them the
two.
game.
I think there was probably two that ended up making it more like you had
But the score
over
was
5 perfects.
effectively tied with the flashing going back and forth
Yeah.
until that late perfect, which had completely swung the lead. Anyway, Lil Chris has had a comfortable time timing on some straightforward things. This is a bit harder to nail down.
This has some fun syncopation. You've got you've got a break of about, I think, 2 measures of just like a fading out,
Yeah, already you can see we
crash
start with
sound.
these kinds of like 16th gallop patterns. Closer to what you'd see in something like Rad.
Yeah, with the yellows there.
Chris holding on to a very slight lead to start. All right, great timing work so far from both players.
Holding the PFCs. If Chris can hold on to the outro here and take this, he will be moving on to the pool tomorrow.
It's so close.
It is very close. We still have this syncopation. He's doing very, very well, though. And Chris takes it.
Yeah, he is quite happy.
A very,
about
very good match for both players. And just, you know, edging it out just a little bit with those perfects. A lot of Jay Henny's came early in the song, and right around where it goes to that quiet part and comes back in. Chris just kind of holding on a bit better.
Chris knows his win condition and stuck to it quite well and made it work quite admirably.
So congrats to Chris moving on to the pool tomorrow, and we'll see Caffeine there as well.
Yeah.
Great stuff from our first pool. We hope you all enjoyed, and we're going to have more stepping happening with the women's non-binary bracket, which should be starting now.